Welcome back to another episode of TC Crossroads.
What's up?
What's up? So today, I was going to ask you about the Nick Fuentes versus Piers Morgan debate,
Yeah.
right? And what it's suggesting about the overall state of the generational divide on how to communicate on what, following our episode where we talked about what can you trust, right? But is there a huge difference in the way generations consume media? So firstly, let's talk about because you're better in this space than I am. Who is Nick Fuentes, for those who don't know, and why is he so popular with this group of young men primarily? Is his audience?
Yeah. So Nick Fuentes was actually a young guy that came to prominence during the first Charlottesville rally. That's when I first heard of him, is when he got kicked out of school for participating in that rally, right? And since then, especially after the way he started speaking about the Jews, he got debanked at a very young age, and the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro deplatformed him, or campaigned to have him deplatformed from everything when he was 18, 19, right?
Which just helps him.
Yeah.
But on what platform did his rise happen then?
So he started his own platform.
No
called
way.
Kick.
No way.
Yeah. And so there were a bunch of these kind of extreme right-wing nationalist streamers on.
And it was like an X or a streaming platform?
It was a streaming platform.
So like a Twitch?
Yeah, like a Twitch. I'm sure he still has it. He does all his streams on Kick, I'm sure.
Where did the investment come from?
I have no idea.
Suspicious, right?
Just
he has that mystery aura around him, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then yeah, the other main cultural moment was when he was with Ye. And that, I think, helped him gain a certain amount of prominence. But I think because of what has happened with Israel and the way that the narrative on the right has splintered, his voice has become more prominent.
Yeah, so just to give context for those of our listeners who listen and don't know who Nick is, or why he's so big in the news right now. He's the number one streamer in the world right now. Is that fair to say?
Number one political
streamer in the world. Yeah, you can't say streamer because I think iShowSpeed is doing pretty good. But yeah, his virality, if that's a word, is because of the memes and how outspoken he is. And so some people, or a lot of people, are calling him racist. Recently, he was just on Piers Morgan. So I think the controversy started when he was on his own platform, but then he got platformed by more mainstream types, the biggest one being Tucker Carlson. Yeah. That's when things really kicked off, right? And then there was a debate on should someone be platformed, right? And if you should, and the discussions were, let's say, because it depends on definitions and where you stand, but let's say he's a racist, or let's say you met Hitler, do you platform them? Because if you platform them, you showcase their ideas to a bigger audience, right? But if you don't platform them, then you're letting it potentially fester and grow, and you're not on top of it. Whereas if you brought some of these ideas to light and tested it against real thoughts and ideas, then it might not stand. Yeah, right. That's the arguments.
Yeah. So the term platforming is a Marxist term.
Okay.
That basically came into prominence during that early woke era of 2014. Mm-hmm. Where you had all those anti-SJW competitions and Milo was doing his thing and things like that. So it is designed to just be sensorial, but in terms of having certain views be heard and certain and the prominence of one versus the other, I think I think Nick is like the general, if you say the logical conclusion or the continuation to what Trump was in 2016, right? And his kind
That
of rise
original
to
MAGA,
presidency, yeah,
right?
his rise of presidency, and Nick was all on MAGA,
Yeah.
first term, right? He was like up until very recently,
Yeah.
and yeah, he was there January 6th, like all that shit, right? So, so what Trump did is that, like, like this whole woke thing that was festering, like, like you can't say this, and you can't like you can't say this word and that word, and that's homophobic and that's racist, and then Trump just came along and said, screw all of that, right? Screw the way presidents talk, screw traditional media.
Yeah. Or this is how you communicate with the president. I just go straight on X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and then that became a big deal where they eventually had to take him
So
on.
that's one of the focus points that I want to talk with you about today. Is that it is an amazing evolution of media. That you have the mainstream, the traditional media, but then even your YouTubes are becoming. I'm not saying becoming mainstream, but they are still managed by certain mainstream, and I think we saw that with Piers Morgan. Like, I respect what Piers did with, what's it called, Piers Uncensored, right? When he left mainstream, he's now on YouTube. He's now his own boss. He can do what he wants. He's called Uncensored. But when he's interviewing Nick, it was like old school media, old school viewpoints,
yeah,
telling him that he's being a naughty boy.
that's
right?
basically what it seemed like.
And it's like, but it's like, I respect the ability to find your own platform, because it's the same thing like that we do with the film festival,
Yeah.
right? It's like, look, if you can't find your own, like if you can't make it traditional ways, then don't just sit around. Like build your demographic, build your own fan base, build your own medium, right? And do it that way.
Yeah.
But I think there was a huge generational clash. I think Piers just didn't understand him.
But I would I would make how at least in terms of how disruptive Nick is, the comparison to Andrew Tate, right? In terms of the things that he says, the kind of narrative breaking viewpoints, and then Andrew Tate became so popular that they had to pass legislation to make people not listen to him.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what I mean. You have there's a reason the mainstream exists, right? There are certain things that are sacred, right? Certain narrative viewpoints and worldviews that are sacred, right? And the way and the other thing is not just a generational divide; it's a subculture divide where you're dealing with a person and a fan base that grew up in internet culture.
Because that's ideology,
memes,
right?
Yeah.
Because there's banned books as well, right? There's banned books, but you ban anything if you're seeking the truth or you're inclined to push back. You ban something, it's going to make you want to read it, right? I think one of the big differences with Andrew Tate though is Andrew Tate didn't have his own platform.
No.
Right? So Nick's that's pretty crazy to start your own platform, to build your own media.
Yeah, because the thing is, I think that he was Nick. That's why he has the kind of street cred that he does, because he literally had to do it all by himself because he was banned from flying.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is what I mean. So it's like, and that's why you can't underestimate his fan base, his personality is kind of very internet culture-y. That's why the tone of that interview was also very weird.
Yeah.
Because
just as a general principle, it is very strange when we're talking about freedom of speech. It's like a separate conversation about where those limits are. But it is strange to be like, okay, because I don't like what you're saying, we're going to take away your banking, take away your ability to move, take away blah, blah, blah. So it's like you're free to say whatever you want, but not really.
Yeah,
right. And I guess that goes back to the deplatforming.
Yeah, until you know, as I said, there are certain narratives that are sacred, right? And if isn't
that important? Right? Is it not important to have certain guardrails on what you say, like no incitement to violence?
Yes, but so this is the perfect example, right? The whole meltdown that Piers had of him saying Hitler is cool, right? And he showed that clip of the Holocaust guy, blah blah blah. You are dealing with a generation that kind of just doesn't give a fuck at a I don't know, nihilistic level, almost. And you just cannot understand. And this is a direct result of internet 4chan meme culture, like all that stuff, right? If you go on to those, like, it's like racist, misogynist, homophobic, it's all of those, because that's not allowed anywhere else.
Yeah. So that's a really interesting point, because like my grandparents fought in the Second World War, and so when I hear stories of children of Second World War victims and their families died and things like that, it resonates with me. My grandparents are part of that. But if you are too far removed from that, does it not affect you? Maybe when maybe it should. You know, one of the things about Remembrance Day is like lest we forget, because it's important to remember, so we don't go through that same thing all over again.
But again, that is seen by this generation.
Yeah,
it's the same thing as going to school and learning about how great Martin Luther King was.
Yeah,
it's like,
I get it. No, I
get it.
I get that. But is it not how it's delivered then? It should be the question, rather than just going like, this is how you should think, right? This is what a bad guy looks like. Should it be conveyed differently?
Yeah, but the way that it's been delivered has made a generation go, who gives a fuck?
Turned off from it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was really interesting, because I'd not listened to Nick for such a long time before, and it was crazy. If you're just listening to his arguments, and I guess this is one of the arguments that people on the right were saying, that don't give him a platform, because now I'm listening to him, and a lot of the stuff he was saying was very logical, and Piers got very emotional, or he just didn't deal with it logically. He just jumped to reprimanding him, or he was trying to play gotcha stuff, and it was crazy to see someone not care, because it's then you don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And I was thinking is this a good thing for us, in terms of a learning point?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I was thinking he's clearly not alone, because that's why he has a fan base.
Yeah.
And so we cannot surely just go, all the fans of Nick Fuentes are a lost cause, or we should wag our finger at them. Should we not just go we should listen to them just to understand where they're coming from, and if they do have an unhealthy point of view, we talk to them about it, or we talk about it differently than they're normally, because if you just wag your finger at them, you're just going to lose them further, and that's not what we want, surely.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that people don't understand, and I guess they realize now what someone like Nick represents in terms of views and the next generation, especially with young males.
One of the things though that I find really, I guess it's really tricky to navigate is and I think we talked about this before in history and truth, right? Because if you're a Nick Fuentes fan or whatever, and you're just saying I'm done with the old narratives, I'm done being told what to think or how to feel about something, now I'm going to look for it myself, I'm going to search for it myself, okay, well then you're going to be running into, where am I getting that information from? Who can I trust? What is truth? All these things. And I think one of the things that is I remember I listened to someone else. He goes, one of the issues is we repeat the mistakes of our great grandfathers because we're so far removed that we can't like learn from them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like my grandparents, because they were there. It's like I've kept those lessons, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it would be on me to teach that to my kids. So I don't know where I'm getting with that, but I was just like,
yeah, I would say, don't trust anyone. Just assume all information that's coming at you is from the deep state and the CIA and is just trying to program you.
So we had this conversation
100%.
before in another chat, though. Then you're dependent on what's tangible, which is your local community, right? And you're in front of me, and I know you from time. Right, so I can
that
trust.
Too, yeah.
Right?
But then, but what's important is again discernment, right? And yeah, dude, I think the post World War II consensus and the way that things are, and challenge all the sacred narratives, right? And he's absolutely right. Why is it illegal to question the numbers of the Holocaust in 90 countries? Right? There's no other historical event that has any of that type of restriction. And the same with historical figures like who take your lessons from history, but we need new ways of thinking, new ways of moving forward, completely break away from everything, man.
But I hear what you say, and I agree. I think I agree that things should be questioned, because I think if things are righteous or just, they should hold up to questioning.
Yeah.
Right? However, I think that the act of questioning, if not done properly or not done with the correct intentions, is enough to cause damage.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No.
So it's like what gossip is, you know? So if I'm seeking the truth, then that's a good thing, right? If let's say a murder happens and I'm seeking the truth.
Yeah.
But if it's like, I can say that I'm seeking the truth and I'm going to say that person did it, and I don't have evidence, right? And it's now in the guise of seeking the truth, but the accusations are enough to cause massive damage to people that are potentially innocent. So that's what I'm saying, like how you do things are equally important.
Yeah.
And you can cover up with that, I'm just a truth seeker, or I'm just making jokes, or I'm just trolling.
Yeah. So I think people have a right to do that.
You think people have a right to gossip?
Yeah.
I
think again, like, people should listen and absorb as much information as possible and make up their own damn minds.
Yeah.
And don't trust anything, not even any source.
Yeah. So right? I would support you in that, saying that what is the alternative? It's policing.
Exactly.
And that is dangerous.
So for the example you gave, right? Yeah. And the guy's a truth seeker and he goes like, I'm just seeking the truth, right? You can't have, as a result of that statement, call him an anti-Semite or a racist, have legislation or NGOs go after him and his family,
or have
and
an
try
official
and destroy him,
or have an official, right? And say the only one allowed to seek truth is this guy because it's his job.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same argument that Douglas Murray made with Dave Smith about Israel, and he's like, "You haven't been there." And Dave Smith is like, what the fuck does that have to do with these factual things that I'm saying? Right? All verifiable facts. But it was dismissed because, he's not an expert. You know? So you can't have an appeal to authority, because COVID showed us all the experts are liars and paid off and shills. You're the expert. Right? All of these authoritative sources and figures and gatekeepers, Piers Morgan or like professors at university. All of that just needs to go.
But we've touched on this before. There's a danger, though. Like I could see there's a huge danger of if that the mainstream or whatever is been co-opted or taken over. Right, that's a huge danger. But at the same time, there's also the other danger where it's like, okay, now free for all. Okay, I'm gonna find my truth from a personality, and there's cults of personalities, and they become my source of truth, and I just listen to them.
Yeah, but that's the case anyway, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, decentralize everything, especially information. Right.
So because we kind of touched on it before. This I kind of want to look more at like the way that they communicate, right? And I think what we touched upon is like there is a need for it of how things are communicated. Like you can't just wag your finger at them and say this is what you think anymore. And I think clearly Piers Morgan and Nick Fuentes is just so out of touch or just doesn't understand how to communicate with Nick. Right? He's showing him clips of what Nick says, thinking that if it was someone else that was on Nick would be like, oh my God, you caught me. Oh my God, you got me out. Oh my God, you've got a clip that proves that I'm a racist. And Nick goes, no, but that's what I think, and I'm proud that I said it. Yeah. I remember there was a comment in one of the sections, and it was like you're getting Kobe to watch his like highlight reel, and he was going.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what it looked like.
Exactly.
And clearly like Pierce didn't know how to handle that.
Exactly. And so what you have to realize from that is that all these labels that you want to put on people, racist, homophobic, transphobe, sexist, they don't work.
I get it.
They don't work.
Yeah, I get it. And especially with him, you can't deplatform him either, right? You can't threaten him.
Can't.
Yeah, you can't threaten him with that
because now he's gotten to that level.
Well, and yeah, we've talked about it. I kind of disagree with deplatforming. But so what I want to get at though is how do we cross this generational divide in terms of communications? Like how can we communicate to this younger type of upset and arguably rightly upset group of people? Because the thing is, I think if you don't speak to them, I think whether you agree with it or not, I think objectively it's fair to say that they will get angrier, they will get more frustrated, they will get worse. And if you don't sort of bring them into the fold, bring them back home, or just talk to them reasonably, right? Where I think the first thing is just to go like, okay, let's listen, right, to what you have to say. Then they're just going to get worse and worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if it's just like a parent. If I have a kid and I'm just like, no matter what you say, I'm going to say that you're wrong, right, and send you to your room, then they're just like, well, why should I live here with you anymore? Why should I listen to you? Why should I just respect your authority?
Exactly.
You're not even listening to me. But when sometimes something legitimate might have gone wrong, but I'm already at a place where I'm not going to listen to anything that you have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. And, that's where I disagree with everyone's approach to this growing, white nationalist thing, right? Which is what Nick Fuentes is a part of, right? So you can't just say, Nazis and just, equate them to, no, are there legitimate grievances of the European peoples, that have to be considered? Right? Because, as he said, everyone's allowed to be proud of their race. They're allowed to be ethnocentric, except for Europeans. That is what's led to people like Tommy Robinson, things like that. Is you have the European nations and races and culture have been shitted on for so long, and you are going to get something more extreme than Nick Fuentes if you keep this up.
Well, that's what happened with Charlie Kirk. We talked about, didn't we?
You're going to get something so crazy that we are going to have no idea what to deal with unless you address this cultural crisis that is going on across the West, right? And it has to do with multiculturalism. It has to do with immigration. It has to do with all of these things that we talk about, right? It has to do with the media, right? It has to do with the way that narratives are spun. Everything. But the way forward is to have more dialogue and kind of just like, try and understand people, right? Because if you don't have the conversation, right, and you just see those views as racist and sexist, then you're going to end up in like something worse than Nazi Germany, than Stalinist Russia.
What's the alternative, right? Is that we just ban you, right? If you're saying stuff that is arguably detrimental to society, right, in their view, then you're just banned. Or then the next step is you're arrested.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you're put to...
Which is then freedom of speech is gone.
Yeah. And I mean, look what happened to Charlie Kirk. That's all I'll say. You know? Look what happened to Malcolm X. Like, this is real, man. Like, if you go far enough, you know, if in those sacred narratives, like you will eventually run into those people.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
How much of Nick's success is his understanding of how to communicate online? So like in terms of like use of memes, or in terms of like being more extreme or being more polarizing. Because remember, like you equated him to Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, and he's slightly older. Andrew Tate's very aware of what he did.
Strategic.
Yeah, strategic. But is Nick being strategic, or is Nick just like guns blazing? This is how he feels.
Yeah, I don't think Nick is that, you know, that calculated like Andrew Tate or even Ye, right? But Nick, I think this is kind of and you know, if you watch his like live stream show, you know, which is just him, basically for 2 hours just going over political shit, right? And then he takes super chats, and yeah, it's like that's one of the things you don't get: trolling, edgelord behavior, you know.
Explain edgelord.
Huh?
Explain what edgelord is.
So edgelords is like basically people that say things on the internet that are ridiculous and provocative for the sake of attention, like for the sake of it, and you know, and being edgy.
Because I've got a picture of
Right.
Luca in my head as soon as you say it.
Yeah, that's basically.
Right,
That's
shout out to
an edgelord,
Luca.
You know, so that's the kind of subculture that you're dealing with here. Right.
So, but the thing is, if that's the culture, is that the best environment to seek the truth?
No, but like that's the thing. If you drive it to the dark corners, that's where it's going to fester, right? And yeah, there's like a lot of dark corners of the internet are like, you know, talking about these things.
So wait,
no one's allowed to talk about.
So if I'm getting this straight, you're saying the kind of culture that exists today, with edgelords and the 4chans and the trolling, you're suggesting isn't healthy, but they've been pushed to be like this? Or do you think this is just the way that they are and we should just understand it?
No. This is not the way that they are. This is
a reaction.
Yeah, man. But the way of operating on the internet as opposed to IRL, like there's so many psychological factors that go into why people are the way that they are online, you know. But that, whatever that is, that anonymity culture, like whatever, like, you know, let the what does the Freudian thing, the id, let the id,
but it was
fester.
I think you can. From what I saw, I think you could have really reasonable discussions with Nick. And I think you could have, because he's very logical, and I would like to see him pressed on some points, but not in a condescending way, not in a I'm just assuming that you're racist, just on some like third culture points, right? Because he was saying like in terms of what he wants for his kids, that he wants to be like, you know, one ethnic, and in that sense he's racist, and he says, in terms of globally, most countries are racist because they want to stick to their own race,
which is
right?
true.
And I think objectively, that's fairly true.
Yeah.
Right. However, I would say that he's a product of mixed cultures. I would want to explore a topic of, like, if he was sitting here, I would want to explore a topic of separating ethnicity and cultures, right? Assimilating. If you're from a different ethnicity, but your cultures can assimilate. Can I, let's say if I was moving to America and I came from another place, could I become American? Would that be acceptable? Because you have people that are the same ethnicity but like don't vibe with the same culture, right? And hate America, let's say. So I'd like to talk to him more about stuff like that, and on like the third culture topics we normally talk about.
Yeah, because the thing is that like that's what I'm saying, that all of this has to do with all this multicultural culture war shit.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that these
and sexes as well. Like I think it was so mad that like both him and Piers Morgan are Catholic, and then Piers Morgan was like having a go at him for being celibate.
Yeah.
I was like, it was like the weirdest take.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the kind of blanket insult at anyone that's the Fuentes type. Like, the lonely virgin that lives in his mom's basement.
So for me, you've lost the fight then.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
Like you should be. If he is an illogical, irrational, just straight up racist, you should be able to smash him logically. Yeah. Right? You should be able to smash him so that his audience are then embarrassed that they entertain such ideas. But then to just go around and go like, "Ooh, you haven't been laid before," I'm like, wow, that's like, that's real poor.
That's not an argument. Like, that's when you know that he has lost.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and that's the thing.
Especially when he was saying stuff like, "Well, the internet's gonna see." Right, you said it, now the internet can judge. And it's like you're out of touch of who's watching.
I know, exactly. And you've did you check out the comment section, which I can't believe he kept on? Like, it's a shit show.
It's interesting. It's interesting because I definitely think it's generational. But like this is one thing I wanted to talk to you about. Is like I was thinking about my father and how I talk to my father. And there's things that we just we don't agree on, or we just see differently. But he's also at an age where I'm not trying to persuade him or convince him or anything. And like out of respect, I will also like not argue with him on certain things, as long as he's like not going off some deep end, like out of respect. But with Piers, it's I remember listening to someone. It's like he's always trying to take the like right line or what seems right,
like the moral high ground.
And that's just, it's very difficult to have conversations because then you're not standing for anything. You're just always like repositioning.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it felt like the entire time. Like like all the clips that he played, anything that Nick said, he was just trying to find that classical liberal angle. Yeah. To just be like, here's why that makes you a bad person. Because
the thing is just as a human, like you're not born perfect. You're not born knowing the exact ways to be right and wrong. Yeah. On everything. So it's like we should go into these conversations willing to be wrong. Right? Willing to be like, okay, maybe I'm right about this and you're right about this, and we can have a discussion and I can learn something from you. But that conversation like opened with it was a setup. Like he was going to do what he did. And he was very clear. He was like, I'm not here to ambush you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, but like, that's why, like, again, the whole like trolling thing, like it was that was most of what Nick was doing. And people, like, that's like, especially with things like, when they were talking about like the Holocaust numbers, and it's like, oh, like I'm a maximalist. Maybe 8 million died. Maybe 9 million died. Like that is like, the kind of edgelord shit.
Yeah.
That Piers just doesn't. It just wouldn't compute.
Yeah.
You know, like but all his fans will be like, got him, shit like that.
But the thing that makes me feel uncomfortable is it's not like Nick is difficult to talk to. It's not like he's not inarticulate. It's not that he's not logical. It's not that he's just like, oh, just racist, you know, just like well, a racist comment. No, he's like trying to make points, but Pierce not engaging with it.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like that's quite dangerous because you're just denying conversation, like you said, you're denying conversations on certain topics without even hearing any counter to it, just because you brought it up.
Yeah, exactly. But that's again, he doesn't realize it, but that's a very woke tactic. You know, and it's just being used on the extreme right-wing views now. You know, by the so-called moderate right or MAGA right or whatever you want to call it. You know, but this isn't. So I think this is gonna especially if he becomes more prominent. The political divide, at least in America, and probably in the West in general, and along with the generational one, is just going to be massive. Is going to be massive, and you are not going to have. You're not going to have the same, because look, here's the thing about Nick's generation and audience. They don't give a shit about grocery prices. They don't give a shit, like gas, or they're too much trash in their city. No, they don't give a shit about regular political stuff. They are about identity, American identity. Who are we first before all of that, things are put into play. So you can't make regular political appeals.
Which is crazy because that's how like political parties used to be. It was like, we all know who we are. We've all agreed on that. Now let's just argue about the price of groceries.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we don't agree on who we are anymore.
Exactly. So if that foundation's all messed up, then you're gonna have, then everything built on it. Yeah, or create something new. But I don't, because
that's revolutionary talk.
Well, no, but the whole thing of this whole tradcon notion of somehow going back to the 50s, that's all insane, right? Like you can't put the cat back in the bag. You have to think of new ways of moving forward, and it has to start with conversation.
Well, that's what's so crazy about what you're saying, because Piers was like, oh, the way you talk about women. You sound like a guy from the 1950s, blah, blah, blah. And it's and yet Nick's also celibate. He's waiting. He's showing such.
He's also
it was so weird.
Yeah. It's he talks like a Chad. About women, but he's actually.
It was so funny. He's like, I'm allowed to because I know Chads.
He's like,
fair enough.
He's like, I'm an incel, but I know Chads, and they agree with me about women. Dude, but that's what I mean. It's all internet culture, man.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all internet culture.
But that's the thing. I think for me at least, it was a huge moment because, you can see that because just and we talked about this before. Just in terms of generationally. I care about the next generation that's going to take over from us, when we get old. And, we can't have such a massive disconnect and never address it.
Yeah.
Because then what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point of me building anything if the next generation doesn't want it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Or they're going to discontinue it, or they're going to smash it down. Then what's the point?
Yeah. And you know what the crazy thing is that in a lot of ways, in terms of their, different in their analysis, same in their sentiment, it has a lot to do with the radical left and the way that they want to attack the system, but they're grievances are like coming from like a like a perceived, oppression or perceived inequality. When I think that what Nick and Nick's audience are feeling is a real sense of losing identity and cultural identity.
Yeah, I mean, I always go back to just look at the UK, what's happening in the UK.
Yeah.
So just to wrap it up, do you think this is a free speech issue? Do you think it's a generational issue?
Yeah.
Or do you think something deeper about the future of culture? We'll get Dhaivat's take, but if you have any thoughts, please leave it in the comments. Even let us know, who do you think won, Pierce or Nick? Do you think Pierce is still fuming about it? I'd love to see both of their take on it, on what happened.
Yeah, I mean, Nick is obviously like, total boomer death, like like that type of and also he just doesn't care. Like, you're just dealing with a different kind of mentality. But in terms of like what this is or what this means, it is a cultural issue, as well as I would say information issue rather than a generational issue.
So, but see, that's the thing that I find so crazy, right? Is it's like, if there was tradition and values of a country, of like or even a household, and like, this is what we stand for, blah blah blah, and then your kid is just a rebel, and they're like, but I don't care about your history or blah blah blah, so I'm gonna go my separate ways. Then it's like, oh, that's sad that I can't bring him in. But what's weird is that Nick is almost saying that he cares more, right?
Yeah.
He's not actually a rebel. He's saying, I care about the values and the traditions, right? So he's not actually, like, in that scenario, he's not actually a rebel. He's just saying, I don't like the way we're going. We need to get back to this.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely worth a conversation. He's not just like, I'm running out because I'm rebelling.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like you have to, like, even Alex Jones acknowledged this, like in 2015, where he's like, I don't know where it happened, but somewhere down the line, conservatism became punk rock, right? Being like race realist is seen as anti-establishment now, right? And then what happened was, the online like meme warriors that got Trump elected during the first presidency, right, just kind of ran with it. And just became like, oh, it's like, you think that's edgy? Like, check out this, like, But
that's what I mean. But sometimes it, like, I think that's one of the dangerous things about that the next generation and younger, is that things can like change, and the internet is like so chaotic.
Yeah.
And you can just suddenly go from, okay, we're seeking truth or whatever, or we're trying to do this thing, and then suddenly it's gone off on a tangent.
Yeah.
Because someone wants to be edgy, and then it's just, where did you guys go?
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of those rooms are always infiltrated with agents, bots, spies. Who knows who's really running the narrative on those forums? So, but it's like, again, that's why discernment is important, but at the same time, like, I think you are going to see a phase, if you just don't get totalitarian censorship, which is also possible.
Can you tell me a bit, because I haven't researched it, can you tell me a bit about Nick and Charlie Kirk?
Right?
Because they'd be on the same side, and they're closer in age.
Yeah.
Right?
So there was in.
But they didn't get on, right?
No, in 2018.
Yet Nick said he was devastated when Charlie died.
Yeah. So in 2018 and 2019, right? Like, it was it was basically like East Coast, West Coast, Death Row versus Bad Boy, right?
You haven't seen the documentary.
And it's
yet.
just like, I haven't yet.
You
but
have to.
The thing is that they both represented like two sides of the conservative movement. And Nick used to troll TPUSA events, and saying, oh look, they're not letting me in. Like,
and see, he's not a fan of JD Vance, right? And the thing is, I don't like, especially third culture point of view, but I don't like how he talks about JD Vance's wife. I understand it's very in line with what he says about, you know, being a
Everything.
purist and everything.
Yeah.
But it's like that's not where I stand. That's why I would love to have a conversation about
Yeah.
third culture.
Yeah. But you know, that's the thing. It's like race mixing is like a big deal to these people, right? And it's like it's a big deal to every other culture as well. You know, it's just like as I said, something's been done to the European races that we need to address. But I think that
I think if you were sitting here and we talked about it, I don't think you'd have such a big issue. I think it's about quantity and how fast it's happening. Right? So it's not like, I don't think he'd be like, no white guy should ever race mix.
Yeah.
I think it's just the amount that is happening. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just like...
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's that much of a purist that he just wants to keep it
Okay, fair.
within the race. And that's cool, man. But so that's why, like, again, he's extremely traditionalist and extremely, like, Catholic, right? And for whatever reason, that's been made edgy and punk rock in our culture, right? Like that's what it means to be a rebel now, to say the like you know, to say faggot or read, like, you know, like that's the level of
get us shut down.
of insanity. Like, but again, like, with
look at this
with
flag.
this-
Do you
with
want us
this
to get arrested?
generation- with this generation, you can't browbeat them with that stuff anymore. Like, because it's been browbeaten into them so much, all these narratives and worldviews and
So what's the solution?
Point of views.
So how do we bridge this divide?
how do we bridge
More
this divide
more
starting
conversations, right?
now? Yeah, just more conversation. And
Do you think
hold-
Nick and people like him, especially young men like him, are open to being persuaded otherwise, or do you think they're just lost now?
Yeah, see, like, again, that's the thing. These ideas need to be scrutinized and logically shut down. If they cannot be logically shut down, you cannot use censorious tactics.
Because it makes it worse.
It never works. Censorship never works. It has never worked in history, and it's never going to work. So what you're going to have to do is listen, and then if there is truth to what they're saying and you can't argue against it, then you can't dismiss it because it's against a sacred narrative like World War II. Right?
For some reason, I had this image of Clockwork Orange pop in my head, and I swear that movie was banned for a while.
It's
if
still
I
banned in
remember.
New Zealand, I think.
No way.
I think so.
We need to look that up. But I remember, like, I mean, you talk about censorship. It's you put him in a program and you force him to watch.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. Society's never going to allow full free speech, right? I don't think that can ever happen.
But is the internet not like that though?
It was in the 90s and the early 2000s.
But you have forums where you can say whatever you want. You have unpoliced forums.
Yeah, you do. But again, that's what I'm saying, is that person can't hold those views if they were publicly known to his employer. You know what I mean?
I see.
Like society, and like, again, like that, like things like this goes back to like Chinese social credit score system, right? You can't have certain views, otherwise you won't be able to participate in society type shit.
Yeah, and I think there needs to be a separation between. Remember, there was that South Park episode, and one of the dads was a troll online, and he just enjoyed being a troll. I don't think this is that. I don't think you can look at Nick and just go, oh, they're just trolling. Oh, they're just doing it for memes or to be famous or to make money.
Yeah.
I think Nick said that as well. He goes, if I wanted it to make money,
Yeah.
then it's like,
It's
why
like,
would I
yeah.
have like been shut down by the banking system?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but I would say Andrew Tate is more of that.
Yeah.
More of just like, haha, like,
Yeah.
look at what I
I was
said.
edgy, but now you're in, and now you're buying my
yeah,
program.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Nick is talking about, you need to listen because the like legitimate grievances need to be addressed, and you cannot.
And if you don't have a space for them, then the one that you hear about is going to be the most extreme, basically.
Yeah, or like you are literally gonna have like the Fourth Reich at your doorstep before you know it, if you don't allow these ideas like to be discussed.
Well, that's what's happening in the UK, right? When they say there's two-tier policing, when there's more people arrested for freedom of speech on social media than any other country. More than China, more than Russia. It's just like...
It's just madness.
Yeah.
It's just madness. So we can't... again, like, censorship never works, so stop it. Freedom of speech as much as possible. And no narrative, culturally, should be held sacred enough so that you can never question it.
Yeah.
Especially politically. That is a way to make sure that the next generation burns the village down.
I just think it's so Clockwork Orange was only banned for 10 years in New Zealand. It's okay now. But I just think it's just crazy to put that kind of authority that you know better than me what I should or shouldn't consume.
Yeah.
You have more moral authority than me, right? And so you would have watched this movie to have been able to tell me that I can't watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's like...
Exactly.
I watched this movie for you, and I think it's not good for you, so don't watch it.
I know, and it's like everyone knows.
Or worse, I didn't watch this movie, but I know enough about it that I won't watch it, and you shouldn't either.
Yeah. So it's like Chinese whispers. Like so, but again, it's like it just never works. Censorship just never works. And everyone knows everywhere, all around the world, that politicians are full of shit, but yet everyone's like, oh, the government's our friend. Like, what? Oh, the government knows what's best for me. Really?
So what happens?
Really?
What happens if I get into politics?
Huh?
Are you going to trust me?
If you get into politics?
Yeah.
If the system that it is currently? No, I will be your Joseph Goebbels and help you break that shit. Like, come on, bro.
Okay, well, on that wonderful note, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, man.
So what do you think? Is Nick Fuentes dangerous? Should people not listen to him?
Nick Fuentes is dangerous, but dangerous is good. Like as I said, like the culture wars are real, right? We just have to make sure we win, and not them.
Final question. How, let's say someone like us, how are we meant to up our rankings in the influence sphere unless we do the more controversial thing, do the say crazy stuff, because it won't go viral, right? The sensible, it's like the way that the algorithms work, the sensible people aren't the ones that have the biggest voice.
Yeah, no. The sensible people aren't the ones that have the biggest voice, but the sensible people, like, again, Nick Fuentes is very reasonable in the way he speaks, logically, correct?
I would say.
Right? He can't be on YouTube, right? Alex Jones can't be on YouTube.
What popped it off? What made him now more famous than ever before?
Well, first it was Ye. Ye was the first one to really bring him out of the out of the mom's basement, so to speak.
Constantly breaking barriers.
I know, bro. It's like it's so wild. And then yeah, he had that run where he was on Alex Jones with Ye, right? And then, but Nick Fuentes has always made appearances within the, I mean, dude.
You think we'll get him on here?
Like Alex, I mean, yeah, why
We could
not?
try,
Man?
right?
Why not? We could try. I would love to talk to him about a lot of stuff. But yeah, I think that virality should not be looked at, because yeah, a lot of sensible people are not platformed or going viral.
It's so funny, like, saying this now, it's like, what was going through Piers Morgan's head? Or what did the team think? We're going to be edgy and get Nick Fuentes on. And then I'm going to scold him in front of everyone. Because clearly the conversation was, Tucker Carlson platformed him, and they had a reasonable conversation, and people were mad that he didn't call him out directly to his face, saying racist, push back on his ideas, right? So Piers was going to be the one to do it.
Yeah.
But that, like, backfired so hard.
Yeah, backfired so hard, and that's what I mean. Like, he just made so many more Nick Fuentes fans.
So who's the one to do it? Who's the one to, like, that you think would be reasonable enough, logical enough, good listener to be able to sit down with Nick and go, okay, maybe you're right about this stuff. That stuff's interesting, but maybe you're wrong about these things.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I mean, Piers Morgan had a whole team of experts, and he couldn't figure out what per capita was.
Well, what about
Right?
a Jordan Peterson?
Huh?
What about a Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peterson had Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, but he has repeatedly called Nick Fuentes and his fans a bunch of psychopathic weasels. So
not Jordan.
He's
I
not,
saw.
none of the Daily Wire.
I haven't seen the Steven Crowder. He's interviewed him. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, exactly. But dude, it's always the same. This is like, even on the right, it's like always the same thing, where it's just like they're trying to bring him to some sort of middle, right?
Because they won his fan base. Right.
Right, and I'm
rather than being open-minded to what he has to say.
Yeah.
And maybe being That's what I mean. The conversations have to be open.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think you like them as much. I like the trigonometry guys.
Yeah, I don't. I think they're very biased. But like.
What about Joe Rogan?
Huh?
What about Joe Rogan?
I don't know about Joe Rogan.
I like his conversations. Do you think he'd have Nick on though?
No.
Too risky.
He won't have Nick on. Like if he had Nick on.
But he has Alex Jones on.
Then that's it. Yeah, but him and Alex are friends. Yeah, but he won't have anyone that talks about anything close to what Nick is talking about ever.
Interesting.
Because again,
I don't know, man. You have like Dave Smith, Douglas Murray. They've debated with Joe, like on Joe's show.
Yeah, I know, but again, with Nick, you're dealing with another type of animal. No, honestly, man. I'm serious, and I've seen him go up against all types of arguments. It's not easy to counter him, right? Because he makes a lot of reasonably good points.
And how bad would it be for some of these people to go, maybe you're right, Nick?
That's what I mean. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
Nobody
wants to be in that position.
Wants to do that, because if they did, then they're going to have to address it and take action.
So true. Okay, I see your point. Yeah.
Nobody wants to say like.
So that the only way to go into that conversation is go, I can never do that. So the only other way is either persuade him or go, you naughty boy.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And that's yeah.
And that's so interesting because Nick knew that going into the interview.
Yeah.
Because I know this is not an ambush, but I know you're going to bring stuff up, and I don't care. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, culture wars are real.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Please like, comment, let us know what you're thinking about, what you care about, so we can address it as well.